I will say, Jordan, in your defense, the Arrogant Worms were definitely sort of at their peak in the mid to late 90s. So.
Yeah.
And they were pretty niche. Like,
yeah.
They were never like, they weren't huge. I don't
Well,
know.
the minute I hear Big in the Prairies.
I mean, you were probably too cool for them anyway.
I mean, the first CD I ever bought was a Best of Joy Division album. So.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
The Arrogant Worms were also the people, one of those groups that, like, you know, when you're on your Napster, your Kazaa or whatever, any Canadian comedy music would be labeled Arrogant Worms.
Yeah, it was Arrogant Worms, yeah.
Just like any other comedy music was labeled Weird Al.
Yeah.
So many mislabeled corn juice tapes, MP3s.
Justice for Sean Cullen.
There's a good question from Tachyon Decay. What's the first MP3 ever downloaded? I mean, you don't have to answer that,
God.
but what's the oldest file in your music library?
Tachyon Decay, are you a police?
Yeah, you have to tell if you're the police. I have no idea. I don't have... I think I still have all my like old MP3s and stuff, but I'd have to dig through to find them.
I feel like I probably downloaded like Change the World, the Inuyasha opening.
I had, so on my, what was it, LC 475 Mac computer, which wasn't this pre MP3s and didn't have it wouldn't have had the sort of processor power to decode MP3s. It didn't have the hard drive space to have like an AIF or something. So we had my brother and I had a bunch of like MIDI files and stuff of music, and also mods, which
were my favorite.
If you don't know, were basically MIDI files, but all the instruments were included in the file as well, so they could have a lot more flexibility. And we had I had, which was effectively worked out to MP3, a mod file of what's it called? Fish Heads. Yeah, by Barnes? Yeah, Barnes and Barnes, I guess. And because the song is so sort of like repetitive, they were actually able to like encode it into a mod file instead of an MP3 song. And they sort of sampled the little bits and put it together and stuff. And it was I later actually heard the song as like an MP3 file, and it was the mod version we have was surprisingly close.
There was a year of high school when I pretty much listened exclusively to mods that I recorded onto tape for myself.
Cool.
Nice.
No, it wasn't, James. That was absolutely not cool.
No, I said cool. You heard me.
Yeah, I agree.
I just remembered the first album I downloaded. We were talking earlier. I told you that I was introduced to Napster, Halloween '99. We downloaded Blur's 13 that night.
Oh, wow.
Which has one of my all-time favorite songs ever, Coffee and TV. Yeah, I don't know why I just remember that, but it just like snapped back into my head. That was I think that was the first thing I ever downloaded.
They've gone. There's quite a few between song 2 and then 13.
I remember being in my school computer lab because they just got a CD burner that I was unable to use, and was browsing Usenet and had to turn to someone in the room. It's like, do you know if Matchbox 20 is any good?
I mean, another early album I had, Prozac Smart Show.
I remember Feed the Night. I was like, this, my parents didn't care, but I was like, this song is inappropriate for me. I skipped it every time.
You self-censored?
Yeah. Though I have the opposite happen because Cake, like I grew up listening to Cake, and I was like listening to Nugget front to back, and then I realized that the title track was a song that I had never heard before. Because the chorus of the song is just "shut the bus up" over and over again, and both of my parents skipped it whenever it was on in the car.
But they did it without you noticing that they'd been skipping it the whole time.
Yeah, and so I like, it came on and I was like, what is it? Because I was in my 20s when I heard it for the first time.
Are there any other albums you're like, wait a minute?
It's only that one. That is the only one. They both decided that one was too far. I also had I had a tape recorder, and I was recording my own music when I was younger, and I recorded John Resnick, the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls, the song he did for Treasure Planet. But halfway through the phone rang, so now every time I hear that song, I hear like the phantom.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, because that was part of the recording that you had.
Yeah. And so like halfway through, it's just like the early 2000s like phone ring.
Nice.